Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. Okay, so the two missing kids in Idaho are who remain missing. All right, Joshua Vallow, 7 years old, and Tylee Ryan, 17. Their brother, sister, he was adopted. Tylee is the daughter. They're both the two children of Lori Vallow on the left, who recently married Chad Daybell on the right, who also are basically, the authorities want to speak to these two. They're persons of interest. They're not facing any charges. I don't know the exact wording that the assistant chief of police of the Rexburg Police Department said. But they don't know where they are, and they want to talk to them, even though they've hired an attorney. This confuses me. There's so many different things about this that confuses me. But they've hired an attorney after, there's been much reporting on this, much speculation on this. And actually, the attorney, the statement that he put out on behalf of them vaguely addresses all the speculation, even though it doesn't get into any specifics and whatever. I'll read his statement in a sec. But they've hired an attorney to speak on their behalf, but the authorities want to talk to them and they don't know where they are. I don't know exactly how that works. And I don't think it's funny how, in the article, the assistant chief of police of Rexburg Police Department basically says, they're not sure how that works either. And that he's working with his prosecutor to figure out exactly, can they talk to their attorney as it relates to the children's, inquire about the children's, where the children are and where they are. I'll get to that in a second. Let me just read the statement put out by the attorney that they hired, who's based out of Rexburg, Ohio, where the children went missing and where the couple were last seen. So Chad Daybell, this is the attorney on behalf of the couple. Chad Daybell was a loving husband and has the support of his children in this matter. Attorney Sean Bartholick of Rexburg, Idaho said, according to the news outlet. Lori Daybell is a devoted mother and resents assertions to the contrary. We look forward to addressing the allegations once they have moved beyond speculation and rumor. So that's the statement they put out, and that's pretty much it. It's not real specific, but at least they've made some contact with the public. The authorities have flat out posted on the Rexburg Police Department says they're asking for the public's help in locating this couple, not to mention the two children. The Rexburg Police Department, and this is from a few days ago. This is from almost a week ago. What's today, the 27th? It's the 27th, 6 days ago. The Rexburg Police Department is asking for the public's help in locating Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, who are wanted for questioning in connection with the disappearance of Vallow's children, Joshua Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Vallow and Daybell were recently married, and she may now be using his last name. Vallow is 46 years old. 5'6", 125. I don't need to go through all that. So, and the assistant chief of police for Rexburg Assistant Chief of Police Gary Hagan said that the Madison County Prosecutor's Office and investigators are working on discussions with Bartholick, the attorney for them. No charges are pending, Hagan said. When asked if the police can question the attorney on the children's or his client's whereabouts, Hagan said they are working with their prosecutor to determine what can be done right now. So that remains an open question. You would think that the law would know that, but, I don't know. They're just working that out. It seemed odd to me, that the couple's wanted for questioning. They don't know their whereabouts. They're using an attorney putting out statements, so somebody knows where they are. The attorneys at least talk to them, and there's two missing kids. And supposedly, I don't want to review everything. Initially, the authorities had done a welfare check or went to the parents asking about the whereabouts of the kids. And the first story they gave was that they were staying with a family member in Arizona. That turned out to be not true. They got a search warrant to search, I believe, Lori Vallow. I'm not absolutely positive about that. Lori Vallow's residence, where they got some sort of search warrant. At the time that they did that, the couple basically disappeared, left the city, and the kids weren't in the house that that they had the search warrant for in Rexburg, Idaho. Okay. So, there has been a ton of speculation about, the Latter-day Saints, that these two, are part of some cult, and that this is all just speculation. I'm not necessarily stating these things as fact, and that he's written several books on the topic, and that they're both really into sort of the end of times, like the end of world kind of prophecies or whatever. I really don't know, and I've listened to a little bit of he has a YouTube page, where he gives an interview to this individual at some antique shop that's in, I believe, in Utah. And this is from years ago. This is from 2011. I listened to a little bit of it, and he's talking about, a book he wrote. It doesn't matter, but it's on that topic. Like, some woman that basically claimed that she died and, came back to life, but in that period that she was temporarily dead, she met, the Savior, I guess Jesus, and that he showed her a window, that basically gave her a window into the future and future events and end of world events and things like that, whichever. So, and that's April 30th, 2011. That's like a 3-part series. This is the brother of JJ and Tylee. I don't exactly know how he's related. That is JJ right there. This is from August 18th, 2017. He spoke to reporters, or he put out a video a few days ago, basically sort of addressing it. But if you're not super familiar with, their whole family tree, it's hard to follow. And I don't follow exactly. He's saying he's super worried. He just wants his JJ and Tylee home safe and wants to know that they're safe and so forth. But I'm just giving you a chance to see JJ, and they're taking him to Chuck E. Cheese there, and the video goes on and stuff. So, I have some ideas of what. It's just an idea, and it's just a question I have totally about. But before I ask that question, let me just kind of review about her. She has 2 former husbands. Supposedly, though, in another report, I thought a friend of hers was saying that she was on her 4th marriage, that this was her 4th marriage, which means she had three previous husbands. Don't know if that's accurate or not, but in most reports, she definitely has had 2 previous husbands that have died recently in the last 2 years. Her first husband with the last name Ryan, which is Tylee's father, died, I believe, of a heart attack in Gilbert, Arizona, and his body was cremated. Okay. I think that's here. Lori's third husband, Joseph Ryan. That wouldn't have been her third husband. That would have been, either her first or second, because her third husband was, or I don't know. Charles Vallow died recently in July of this year, 2019. But Lori's third husband, Joseph Ryan, died of a heart attack in Gilbert, Arizona in 2018 and was cremated the next year. Chandler police say Lori's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed her estranged husband, Charles Cox, claimed self-defense. And then Alex Cox has died on December 12th, one day after Tammy Daybell's body was exhumed. Tammy Daybell here, who is Chad Daybell's first wife, who died on October 19th in her sleep. I believe in Idaho, Salem, Idaho. I'm fairly certain that that's quite close to Rexburg or Sugar City, Idaho. Not positive. We'll find out right now. It's crazy. It's hard to follow. But my computer's totally overheating. And this is my I've tried to make this video a couple times. If I haven't already said it, there's Sugar City right there. This is where they stayed, and there's Rexburg right there, Rexburg, Idaho. And they're not that far from each other. That's 1 mile. So that's like 3 miles from Rexburg, Sugar City. There's Salem, Idaho. And that's where, Tammy Daybell passed away. And she was actually buried in Springville, Utah, which is about 300 miles south of there, where Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell basically started their family. They're survived by 5 kids, if I didn't mention that already. And I think some of them are definitely grown kids, if not all of them. And I think they have 3 grandchildren as well. So in addition to the 2 missing kids, you have 5 children, probably adult children, that Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell have. Tammy Daybell is deceased, though, and she's the one whose body was exhumed on December 11th. As I was saying, if I, the results of her, and they supposedly she was exhumed to have her body, an autopsy done on her body, so that because of they now believe her death to be suspicious, but those results have not been released. And my question is, maybe they didn't just exhume her body to perform an autopsy on it. Maybe. I mean, is it possible? Let me put it this way: is it possible that they exhumed her body to verify that it is in fact Tammy Daybell that was in her whatever gravesite where she was buried? And that she is in fact deceased. It's just a question. I'm just asking a question. I mean, maybe is that what she was exhumed? The body was exhumed for. I don't know. I mean, it's just an idea, a question that popped into my head after seeing all the various spouses die in such a short period of time. I mean, if I had to guess, and I have no way of knowing this whatsoever, obviously, and probably shouldn't guess about these things. I actually think these 2 children are alive. I do, and I think they're going to turn up okay, and I think they're alive. That's what I believe. So, but I mean, one of the things that kind of jumped out at me when I was reading, various reports about Chad Daybell and stuff, in this one that's, but what do we know now, kind of thing. And this is what directed me to his YouTube page, where he's giving an interview. It references it. Daybell has written a number of religious books, many with plot lines which center on the end of the world. In an interview shared on his YouTube page in 2011, Daybell says he was inspired to start writing during his time working in a cemetery in Springville. Okay, that's where his wife was buried. Okay, and he actually worked there while he was still in college. All right, and it says, it's amazing what you can think about when you're weed eating and digging graves, Daybell said. And I wrote what's called the Emma trilogy and came up with some characters. They're all based on family members, whatever. But that's just one thing that immediately, when I saw that, I had seen in previous reports that she was buried in Springville, Utah. And it is... she was buried at the Springville Evergreen Cemetery, and when somewhere I found that is the actual cemetery where he worked when he was in college. Where is it? Such a turkey. I think I closed that. I did. So, it's in here. LDS author uses the past to influence the future in new books. It's an actual article. I mean, I don't want to just take it directly from that forum. And this is at BYU, actually. And this is from March 17th, 1999. And Daybell said he worked for Evergreen Cemetery in Springville. I'm just verifying that he worked for the same cemetery where she was buried. Okay. And, you know, I noticed in her obituary that, you know, during the summer following her freshman year at BYU, Brigham Young University, she met Chad Daybell. They quickly fell in love and were married on March 9th, 1990 in Manti Temple. While Chad continued his schooling, Tammy supported the family by working as the secretary for Springville's Parks Department. As part of her job, she typed thousands of handwritten burial records into a computer database. This helped spark her interest in family history, which later would become her favorite hobby. Throughout her life, she submitted more than 100,000 names for temple ordinance work, etc. I mean, it's just things that jumped out at me, you know, that the various connections, the fact that he worked at the Springville Cemetery, the Evergreen Cemetery in Springville, where she was buried, and that she, part of her job, I don't know. I mean, that's right around the same time, actually, because she's still putting him through college. It says, while Chad continued his schooling, Tammy supported the family by working as a secretary for Springville's Parks Department. As part of her job, she typed thousands of handwritten burial records into a computer database. I don't know. It just seemed like fairly like an odd coincidence to me, you know, and that it seemed like that there might have been a knowledge of, you know, how death records are processed and so forth, and how the burial and death and mortuary, process works, you know. And so I don't know. We'll wait to see what the autopsy results are of Tammy Daybell. Obviously, you know, these are just questions. I mean, this is, you know, it's a very unusual circumstances, and there's still two missing kids, you know, and I hope to God I'm right, that it turns out that they're safe and they're okay, and that's my hunch, you know, that they are. I think if they weren't, that these parents would be a little bit would be more concerned about accommodating the law a lot more. I don't know, but who knows, man? It's just so odd. It's kind of a mess, dude. It really was, but it's a messy situation, and that's pretty much the story there. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos, man. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. See you in the next video. Later, man.